electronically.
Yeah. All right, I'm starting on YouTube. 6 o'clock. Let's go ahead.
Okay, the first item that we have is the return of our uncollected real estate taxes through the end of, and correction here, December 31st, 2020. What we have outstanding, according to the tax collector, Jerry Ann Spangler, and her report and settlement with the borough reflects that $22,575.06 in general fund taxes remain outstanding, along with $2,257.58 in tax money for street lighting and the fire tax, making total real estate taxes outstanding at the end of last year, $24,832.64. How does this compare to previous years? We've been in the $4,000 to $5,000 range, but never anything this high. Virtually no money came in December, which is always a month in which people, for whatever reasons, they forgot. Just, they made sure they came in and paid. I think we're going to see a lot of this money in the first quarter of this year when, real estate or IRS refunds are issued. But I just think it was a combination of people being out of work and just not having the money to pay. So what has happened is these taxes are now turned over to the Cumberland County Tax Claim Bureau. Residents can go down and pay on those at any time. They will pay a penalty to the county for being late, but residents can go in at any time. Once they pay the county will reimburse us on a quarterly basis for these outstanding taxes. So we will start seeing some of this money come in next year. And of course, everyone, the longest that you can hold your taxes through Tax Claim Bureau is 2 years. After 2 years, then the bills go to upset sale. So, hello, Joey.
Hi.
We just started, and I just gave a report of the settlement by our tax collector, Jerry Ann Spangler, on December 31st. And basically, we have $24,832.64 that's been turned over to the Tax Claim Bureau this year. Obviously, don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is due in large part to the pandemic, people being out of work, just not having enough money. And when IRS tax refunds are issued, I think you'll see a lot of these people go in and pay. But it's just a sign of, the bad year that we've had, and hopefully people will do better next year and we'll be in better shape next year. And that's as far as we've gone with the agenda so far. We also have occupational assessment taxes that are in the amount of $4,686. And these were turned over by Jerry Ann as unpaid. And I have sent them up to G.H. Harris in Dallas. G.H. Harris is our delinquent occupational tax collector. And so they will begin collecting those. And I would tell you that G.H. Harris does a pretty good job in collecting, and you'll probably see at least 75% of those tax dollars come back. Some of that is just, people that are renters. They move out of the borough, they don't pay the tax bill, and that's what G.H. Harris does. They trace these people and try to collect. So that report has already been sent up to G.H. Harris for collection. Again, the amount is $4,686. We have total taxes outstanding then at the end of the year, $29,518.64. That's $29,518.64. Ed Sinkovitz had asked me, and I don't think he's with us yet. I did share this report with him. Ed wanted to know, he was just curious, we took over the soda machines and we stock them now, and everything is, whatever we make goes back to the recreation program. So last year, and of course, again, the pandemic hurt us. We had months when the park was closed, the trailhead was closed. So our revenues from the two machines did total $1,791.73. We purchased soda from Pepsi and water from Sailors. And the purchases, I think there were 3 or 4 stockings last year of the machines. The materials that we bought, the soda and water, totaled $1,179.16. So we had a profit of $612.57 at the end of the year, which from 2 machines really wasn't too bad, given everything that we experienced last year with the park being closed and even closed during construction. Just a couple other things before we go into the financial reports. The young man that is working on the Gaga ball court emailed me, and I think, Scott, I sent his information on to you as well.
Yeah.
He's obtained some pricing on the court from a recreation equipment supplier, and it looks like all the materials for the court would run $2,640.10. I've asked him to join us at work session on Tuesday night because I think it's important that he present this information and explain it to you. But I would just ask, because of the situation with, the unpaid taxes and so forth, our tax money from real estate taxes won't really start coming in until March 1st. And usually by the second week of March, we start seeing payments. So if we do go ahead with this, and I know council is very supportive of this, if we make the purchase in April, if we order the equipment in April and have it delivered, I would like to see it delivered right to the park, and then coordinate immediately after that, putting everything together in May. So if we could do that, that might be something we can talk to the young man and his father about on Tuesday night when they join us. Are there any questions on anything that I've covered so far? Jack's not here, but I think one of the things we should check with him about is the checking account for the Economic Development Authority. I did obtain the forms from Adams County National Bank as they directed. And the signers were going to be Andrea Green, Kurt Saylor, and Kentucky. And when I picked everything up, I took it over to Cornerstone to Andrea. And she called me, she said, do you know they have me down to view the accounts and to transfer funds? And I said, well, I don't need that. And where are we transferring to? Because we just have a checking account. And she said, I talked to Doug Lindsay and he indicated he just thought that was how we wanted it. And I said, well, I don't think it's necessary. We receive the bank statement here. It'll be sent on to Chris Galata. I don't need to be involved in it as long as we have 3 people assigned. So I just wanted to see where all that stood, because I left all the documents at Cornerstone Bank. And if they do have everything set up and ready to go, we can release. We are holding a check for them for $1,950, which was their money from the Renew Cumberland grant. And that would give them the money to open their checking account. They have agreed to not call people to their meetings unless necessary. So Tim Cormany won't be called. That'll be a bill that, they could save a few $100s. The same thing with Marcus. They're thinking about maybe just having him send a report. Chris Galata obviously needs to be there, but they're going to try to work to keep the cost down. Joey, before the meeting, I told Scott that I had a telephone call from Jim Swartz, our landlord,
Uh-huh.
and the police station lease will come due next month. And he has asked us to renew. He would keep the rent for up to 3 years at $1,000 a month. He would not increase it. He
Okay.
did ask, and I don't know how to interpret this. He said, I'm not going to keep buying light bulbs forever. And I said, okay. I said, we can, we got a maintenance crew. We can change light bulbs.
Right.
So, I'll speak to the mayor and the chief and just tell them if they have anything like that, they can call Dave and his guys will come up and they'll change out the bulbs. And, that's something we should take care of. Obviously, that shouldn't be, we shouldn't bother him about that. So I talked to Marcus, and my suggestion to Marcus was let's renew for 1 year. And I've also asked Marcus to contact Richard Go, but I think we need to talk to Richard about the lease, just in general terms, not anything cut in stone, but just sit down and find out from him, where does he think the monthly lease price for the new building is going to be? And
Right.
before we spend any more time and money with vendors that are looking to supply us with things, and just before we incur any more bills.
Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Any questions on anything that I've covered so far?
Nope.
I
no
would like
questions
to,
here.
I would like you to know that I received a letter today from the Cumberland County Conservation District. And the person there is Lori Glace, and Lori has worked with us on something called the Dirt and Gravel Roads Program. And Scott, you might know or heard of this over in Penn Township. They've used this extensively to fix roads and have done a lot of improvements on dirt roads and also with drainage. But you can use this to improve dirt roads and pave them and resurface them. And we have a short section of dirt road known as Finley Street. It's there from Cedar Street by Sharpover's house,
Mhm.
and it goes up to Big Spring Ave. And I know Ron Hauser that's one of his complaints every time I see him. When are we going to pave Finley Street? Then there's also a section of Parsonage Street, which is a dead end, and you would know where this is, Joey. It was out where Mike Smith lived there.
Right.
Back. So that was all just, millings and stone. If we could grade that out and pave it, that would be much easier to plow for the men in the wintertime.
Right.
So I was thinking about getting estimates together, calling Dylan Griffey and asking him to give me an estimate on these two streets. And what do you think about submitting? We can only submit up to 25,000. There is not a match required. If we want a match, it helps us, but it's a good program. I think they have about 100 grand available throughout the county. And now that Penn Township is done, I think they would like to help some of the other towns that have applied in the past but weren't funded. And Newville was in that group of municipalities. So any opposition to doing a grant application would be due March 31st.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
The most they can do is say no,
Right.
Doesn't
And if
hurt.
we could get the two roads done, why it would be better for us to, easier for us to maintain. So now we'll look at the balances on the treasurer's report, and I've got two revisions to this, Scott, so I'll give them to you in a minute. The general fund balance at the end of last year was $5,831.55. The rental fund checking account had $1,372.60. Our street lighting account, $419.42. The fire tax, $55,285.52. In our F&M trust, our debit card for the borough was $331.40. And the Newville area events at $5,207.40. Highway aid checking had $10,253.04. Payroll checking has 19,719.41. The police department checking at Belco at 11,304.34. I think you're going to hear from the mayor. A lot of that was money for the shop with a cop and the calendar fund. The K9 account at Belco has 1,496.20 at the end of the year. Our auxiliary police account, $211, and the debit fund card at F&M for the police had 179.59. I have new balances as of today for the pension fund. I received the statements today. The police pension plan, the new amount is $367,599.23. That's $367,599.23. In the non-uniform pension plan, we have $493,169.89. That's $493,169.89. The police department did make a gain of about 6,000, but there was a pretty substantial increase of almost 12,000 in the non-uniform pension plan. So those are the new amounts.
What do you contribute the difference? Why there was such a big jump in non-uniform versus the police?
Well, first of all, the non-uniform pension plan only has one person receiving a partial pension. The police pension plan has two pensions that go out every month to Greg
Okay.
and Bo Smith.
Smith, yeah,
So that might, that's going to keep the growth down there.
right.
But,
Okay,
it just, in the last quarter of the year, I think, everybody said the S&P 500 and stock market was doing pretty well. So
right.
I think that's evidenced in our numbers that we see.
Okay, thanks, Fred.
Sure. The Borough Joint Veterans Account, which is the account for the banners, has $946.63. Capital Improvement Fund, $1,467.25. And our tax anticipation loan has $989.79. Any questions on the balances? On the list of bills, the first bill that we have is Martin and Martin for engineering services provided during the month of December, $110. Irwin and McKnight PC legal services also to EDA, the month of December, $187.50. The Galata Group project management services to EDA, $935. Edmill Fuels DPW fuel purchased in December, $260.80. Crime Watch Technologies, the 2021 police service contract for the police department website is $366.96. AB Martin roofing supply. I actually thought this was to repair the bleachers, but this was some lumber that they bought to fix the guide rail out at the trailhead. They had some tree limbs come down and break some of the guardrails. So they replaced and repaired those. JGF funding is Higher Information Group is the color copier surcharge. For the copier is $105. JGF funding copier lease payments for the borough office and police department, $269. Co's Oil Service delivered fuel in the month of December, and the bill was $122.22. And when I got the slip, I thought, boy, they really must have the heat turned down, because that's not a bad bill from Co's. But the chief called me on Monday to tell me that they had no heat. We have two tanks that are set in tandem, and the one tank was blocked. The pipe leading from the two tanks was blocked. The interconnect was blocked. So Mr. Swartz came up and repaired it, and then Co's came right down last night and filled it. So now we have a bill in addition for another $450, but the two tanks are full and should get us through the better part of the winter. Just wanted to make you aware of that. Atlantic Tactical The chief ordered winter coats and raincoat for Jason Brady, and the uniforms cost $665.07. Raybold Services, $60 for calibration of speed timing equipment. And Daco is the uniform rental for Public Works, $319.16. Barrick Tire, the guys purchased a battery maintainer for the backhoe, $23. Timothy Barrick inspection service for the 2013 Chevrolet pickup, and he also serviced it and did some other minor repairs, $327.40. Boston Mutual disability and life insurance, $413.61. Sailors Market cleaning supplies purchased by DPW, $119.87. The News Chronicle, legal ads and meeting notices published in December, which includes one large ad that we run for the coming year, and that's always quite expensive. A.B. Martin, treated lumber for the trail. I made the correction here, $63.98. Irwin and McKnight PC, the legal services to the borough during the last month, $2,070, and this included the number of extra meetings that we had. There were 2 extra meetings regarding the former employee of the borough that we had Mr. McKnight come back for. Pennsylvania Association of Boroughs 2021 membership dues, $234. Salzman Hughes gives us COVID-19 legal updates, and part of that is an employee leave plan. Their bill for those updates was $90. DataWorks Plus is $625, and this is a CNET service for the police department for 2021, which includes the software and all updates, $625. I would like to go back and talk a little bit about Boston Mutual. But before I do, does anyone have any questions on any of the bills?
The only
Fred.
question I have, Fred, was there actually still 2 bills out to A.B. Martin?
Yeah.
Yes, one
Okay.
is for they're very close in price. I went back
Right.
and looked, but they were both for lumber for over at the, in other words, I guess they had 2 incidents where trees came down on the
Okay.
trail, but nothing was for the bleachers yet.
Okay,
They are going to get to that, but all the lumber that was bought was for the trailhead.
okay, thanks.
Scott, did you have a question?
That was the exact same question I had.
Okay. So Officer Keller, his union steward, came to see me, and he brought along Alexis Gerhardt. And over the years, there's been some shortcomings with the employee plans, you know, making sure that the employees have coverage, proper coverage. And so the police made a request, could Alexis manage the benefit plans if an employee wanted to make a change or, you know, add a spouse or something like that, or wanted information regarding their coverage, could the police have these documents right at the station? And I didn't see any problem with that. You know, they get, if they come down here to meet, they're kind of on the spot. What are you doing at the borough office and so forth. So I thought, you know, that's a good idea. She's there as a police clerk. She can give this information out. So I gathered it all up, put it in file folders, and I had a meeting with Alexis and Officer Keller. And we went through and had a good meeting, went over all the benefits. But what we found, what Alexis found was to have $50,000 of life insurance coverage for each officer. And right now, Officer Keller has $30,000 and Officer Brady has $30,000. So we need to increase through PCI insurance an additional $20,000 of coverage for them. And we are working on that, be in compliance with a contract. But in the course of doing this, you know, when we negotiated a new contract, the police had a $10,000 life insurance benefit. We increased that to $50,000. So we went back to Boston Mutual and we said, just give us $50,000 for these 3 or 4 employees. And they said, we can't because you're in a group plan. The most we can do for the group, anyone, doesn't matter, is 10,000. So we went out and bought supplemental insurance through PCI. And we do have, the 50,000 for the chief and Officer Gutschall. We have to get the correction made for Officer Brady and Officer Keller. But I suggested, and I'd like to get some feedback from you folks tonight. What do you think if we just put an RFP out to our 3 local agents here in town, Jeff Bowder, John Wolf, and Shoemakers, and ask them if they would give us prices on life insurance for the officers, one policy for each officer in the amount of 50,000. See what kind of price we get. I'm just afraid down the road, if something happens to one of these officers, you have enough problems as it is without, chasing around between 2 different insurance companies to get your life insurance money. And what do you think about that?
Personally, I think it's a good idea. We need to try and keep things local here as much as we can. And, I would reach out to them and see what they can do for us.
Okay.
Yeah,
Scott,
I
what do you-
agree. Yeah, I agree. Fred, what do our other full-time employees, what do they have in terms of life insurance?
Everyone that's in the group plan with Boston Mutual receives 10,000. So all other employees have 10.
I wonder if we can see what it would cost to just to make everybody, because you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4 more employees full-time.
Well, you've got 4 down at Water and Sewer. You've got 2 at Public Works, that's 6. You've got 2 here at the office, that's 8.
Yeah.
So we'd have a
Yeah,
total
I
of 8.
wasn't counting Public Works, but okay. So there'd be
We'd
8
have a
more.
Total of 8 additional, yeah.
I mean, it may be the difference of $100.
Well, we can ask them to break it out and, each premium should be listed individually. And then we can take a look at it. But I just think it would be a lot easier if we had one insurance company for everyone and, not chasing it. You have enough problems if somebody passes away, not to have to go through an extra insurance company to collect life insurance.
Mhm.
Right.
Any other questions on any of the bills? We do have one highway aid bill. The bucket truck has a boom that lifts the bucket, and that hydraulic cylinder went out while they were taking down Christmas decorations. Pro Hydraulics rebuilt that for us at a cost of $333.56. There's another hydraulic cylinder that pushes the bucket in and out. And I suggested that during the winter, we take that off and have that rebuilt. Because if one goes, the other one won't be too far. And I wouldn't want to be the guy up in the bucket truck when the other cylinder goes. You might be ending up stuck up in the air. So I think we should have the other cylinder repaired as well. And that was out of highway aid. And I did have a request from the chief. One of the printers in the patrol car broke and could not be repaired. So we put $800 or $400 onto the debit card for the police department today. So the chief can order a new printer for that car. That's absolutely essential. They have to have the printers in order to give out citations.
Right.
So that's been taken care of. Also, the patrol car was involved in a minor accident with a deer. And we do have, it was turned over to our insurance company and they issued a check to the borough for approximately $900. The total cost of the repair is $1,413.20 from Stalls Auto Body in Chambersburg. And it goes down, I believe, next week to be repaired. So when that happens, the chief's going to be moving some cars around, but it needs a new fender. That's about all that I have on finances and bills. Anyone have any other questions?
Mm-mm.
Chief, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. Well, I do. When it comes to financing, you did mention that the car's going down to the body shop, approximately February 1st. But addition, to that, I did sell the, 2 shotguns the other day. I hadn't spent a whole lot of time on that, but I decided I was tired of them being in my office. So, it took me about 2 days to get rid of those. So, we got $300 a piece for two of the 3 shotguns that we had. We did keep one. So that money's also been put into the calendar fund temporarily until, we're able to figure out what we're gonna do here with firearms, which are next to impossible to get a hold of right now.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else with the cars that we should be aware of?
Um, Nothing severely imminent. I'm just a little worried at the pace that we're keeping after them. I know we originally had spoken that, we were going to try to put them in that 5-year cycle of being replaced. And right now we're sitting on a 2010, and a 2013. And each time I get in one of those, I hear or feel new noises or sounds or something. I'm just afraid we're getting behind on those. So that's something that we need to look at staying ahead of here with a grant or something.
Do they have lease programs for them?
Ford Motor Credit and the Water and Sewer Authority leases its vehicles through tax exempt financing. Both
What's
are
the,
easy to work with.
I was gonna say, how's that compared to what we pay now?
I think it's comparable. The one nice thing about USDA is you'll get a certain portion of it in the form of a grant.
Right.
Whereas if you go and lease, you're financing the entire cost of the car. But the lease programs that they have are generally in the range of 5 to 7 years. You can have your payment structured monthly, quarterly, one lump sum payment per year, semi-annual. They're pretty flexible, and they're tax-free. And they're very easy to work with. Just about any of the leasing companies today, especially if you're dealing with Ford. I know last year I put our numbers in, I submitted our finances, and we were approved from Ford Motor Credit. And I don't think we would have a problem getting approved from municipal tax exempt leasing either.
Because we don't go anywhere near mileage,
No, we don't get hit on that. No.
so we wouldn't. That wouldn't be an issue.
It's
You
the
would be
engine
paying-
hours. I don't know if that's something that they monitor or not as far as hours go, but when we're here and we're in them, they usually don't get shut off very much because of the amount of electronic equipment that's in them, keeping the computers and stuff on and not keeping them running.
Right.
It doesn't work out too well, so they run a lot whenever all the electronics are up.
Chief, why don't you check? I think you gave me a price last year for USDA, but it's probably gone up. Maybe get a new estimate on a vehicle, and I'll run it through tax exempt financing, and I'll run it through Ford Motor Credit, and see what the payments come back.
I can run it again. From my recollection, I'm pretty sure we were already past the date. And I think that quote was for a 2021 from what I remember, but I'm not 100% positive. But I can double check again.
I know there's a company up in Carbon County, Kovach, and they actually have a few units on their lot available and ready. they're unmarked and they'll, deck them out however you want them. But they usually have 2 or 3 vehicles in stock at all times. And they're connected with KME, the fire company, fire truck company, and they're pretty good at turning stuff around. So you may want to check with them.
Would you say it was Kovach?
Kovach, it's in Nescahoning up in Carbon County.
I can't spell that either.
Kovatch, Kovach Ford. And I don't know, we ended up buying a vehicle from down at the Ford dealership in Chambersburg, but I don't know if they deal in police cars. I know they deal in utility trucks and things like that, but they're great to work with. They come up and pick our vehicles up, take them down, service them, and when they're brought back, they're all cleaned inside and out. And I'm telling you, it's not any more than having your vehicle serviced here in town, but it saves us having to run down to Chambersburg and run back again. And everything's done with Ford parts and very good service. Keystone Ford. So if we're all in agreement, the chief can get us some specifications and a price, and let's look into leasing a vehicle and getting that taken care of.
I was just thinking that, if we're looking at getting them into a 5 or 6 year rotation, you buy one or you lease one every other year. I was just curious that where that would fall in regards to what we currently pay. Obviously you're not going to have a vehicle at the end of that lease because you're going to roll it into a new one. But
I know our monthly payments right now are $565 a month.
But and how many
That was on a
vehicles?
5-year.
How many vehicles
You
is that for?
That's just one.
Just
That's
one.
That's the car that, what is that, a 2017 Chief that the K9 officer has?
2018, I believe.
All right. Anything else for
Yep.
finance?
I don't have anything.
Fred,
Jody's,
what's that?
you have anything, Jody? Jody's sitting here
Finance?
observing.
No, I'm just,
She has no
Taking it all
questions.
in.
yeah.
Fred, you sent the memo for the COVID paid leave.
Mm-hmm.
Did that already go out to everybody, or?
It went out, I think 2 weeks ago, Scott, when I got everything from Zach Rice.
Okay.
I know it's on our agenda for the work session Tuesday night.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
So,
pretty sure it was in, I sent out a new agenda because there were some things added. And I think that went out over the weekend.
is the
Not
borough
done.
paying the administrative fee for vaccines? I don't know what the administrative fee is, but the vaccine itself is free.
Yeah.
But there is an administrative fee that comes with them. I wasn't sure.
I
if the
think what's
borough-
happening I've been reading on this, PA Warren, which we belong to on the water and sewer side. They're offering everything. They're taking care of all the costs. They're offering incentives to employees. Here's what they're offering: paid or unpaid time off to obtain COVID vaccination, cash bonus upon proof of vaccination, enhanced wellness plan benefits for vaccination, employer-sponsored group functions or department teams achieving a requisite percentage of employee vaccinations, kind of like one department versus another, entering all the employees who are vaccinated into a raffle for prizes. So those are some of the things that other municipalities are doing to encourage I've been spending a lot of time looking at this. You know, the Mayor of Harrisburg made mandatory vaccination. And I'll just tell you what I have found, that the courts are not going to, you have to allow your employees, if they have health conditions and have a reason to opt out of it, you can't go against that. If an employee has strong religious beliefs that they don't want to accept the vaccine, we can't go against that. We have to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission guidance requires us to work with our employees. And if they have a problem with the vaccine, to understand and recognize why they may not wish to be vaccinated. I talked to a police chief that went through this and had a real serious reaction. Was out of work 2 days. And also in the same borough, the fire chief went and got the shot, and he had nothing. But within the police department, not all the employees were taking it. Within the fire department, not all the employees were taking it. And the solicitor of that municipality said they were going to stay away from mandating it because of some of the concerns that I've read here. But the PA Warren uses the firm of Cozen and O'Connor to give legal advice. And I've also talked to Zach Rice from Salzman Hughes, see what Zach has to say. But I think you're going to find this, at least in the public sector, to pretty uniform. It's going to be hard to, you know, if an employee has a problem with an illness, some medical concerns, they may not want to take the vaccine.
I'm not at all looking to mandate it. I mean, that's a personal decision, but I guess my concern comes out of, you know, if it's a personal choice to not get the vaccine, that's fine. It goes on the financial hook every 2 weeks that we quarantine somebody. And we've already had, I don't know how many folks that have been put into quarantine between, you know, the police department and the borough. That adds up. And you know, that's all I'm looking at. If you know, if an employee chooses to not get it, that's fine. That's on them. But you know, right now they're not burning sick time or anything like that. They get paid. And once they have the opportunity to get a vaccine, if they choose not to, to me, that's just a natural consequence of it. So,
well, the one thing I'd like to point out is, and I just did payroll on Monday, and there was one police officer who was sent home, and he's using a sick day. And then I think there was another police officer who had a temperature, and he used 2 sick days or a day and a half of sick time. But right now, the employees, it is being charged. They're being charged
right.
for it. And I think that's why we're looking at this policy to establish something so that they should not be charged.
I guess that's where I'm struggling with it is, you know, I'm all for if they've gotten the vaccination and they've done what they needed to do, and you know, they have to quarantine, then that's fine. But I don't know. It's just my opinion. So, and I'm not saying that just for the police. I'm saying that across all of our employees.
Well, police and firemen are subject to the Heart and Lung Act, and COVID-19. Well, first of all, it's now an eligible workers' comp claim, and the governor signed some legislation that's now made COVID-19 heart and lung compliant. So it's under the Heart and Lung Act now as an illness. And I suspect it won't be too long before you may even see, and you know, we're looking at our pension ordinance, and I told Marcus to leave this open. But disability pensions, I think you're going to see more employers taking a look at, you know, how this may impact people in terms of disability pensions
Mhm.
long term. So this isn't going to be over. This is something that we're going to have to deal with for years. The virus may abate, but the problems that are associated with it from an employer standpoint, we may be dealing with for a long time.
Right. Yep. Okay. But that's on the work session for next week. So,
Right. Yes.
anything else?
No.
Okay. Then we'll hop off and I'll start up the other one a while.
Okay.